If I told you today you could buy Bitcoin at $5, would you say, I'll think about it? But that's what we're saying is happening with silver and gold right now because it's manipulated. And Powell is now making a warning, creating a warning against Bitcoin. So they're scared right now because the system is collapsing. I shifted to Bitcoin. I still bought as much gold as, I'm still buying gold. I bought some the other day because this guy had some 10-ounce bars where, kilos come in. And they're hard to get. I mean, it's really hard to get.
That's right.
And it's getting hard. I couldn't even buy silver the other day.
Well, what does that tell you?
Supplies are gone.
That's right.
Plus they're suppressing the prices.
People don't know this.
The prices.
Yeah, they don't understand how this works, Robert. So imagine if you go to McDonald's and there's a dollar menu and they say you can get this item for $1. You order the item and they say it'll be $3.50. Wait a minute. I thought it was $1. Yeah, that's right. That's the price. But if you want one, it's $3.50. That's how it works with gold. The price is $1,800. Oh, I'd like to have an ounce. Okay, it'll be $2,000. Well, wait a minute. I don't understand. And you got to wait 2 months for it. So why is the price $1,800? Well, that's just the price because we're able to financially engineer the futures market to keep the price low. But if you actually want an ounce, it's much more.
And then there was this huge war between, Robinhood, Reddit against GameStop. And the little guys kind of won, but they got their asses kicked. They tried it with silver and they couldn't do it because that's real money. Silver and gold are God's money. They couldn't mess with the market because the big producers out of the COMEX and, Tesla, Apple, Toshiba, Microsoft, all these guys who use silver kept the price suppressed. Now,
well, for specifics, just to back you up so you don't sound like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, they traded 1.7 times the annual supply of silver in one day in order to keep the price down.
And so you idiots out there saving US dollars or pesos or yen or euro, get E.B. Tucker's book, Why Gold, Why Now? Because you're getting screwed. I mean, like when people argue about gold over Bitcoin, I just quote, Yogi Berra. When you come to the fork in the road, take all three. I have all three. And right now I'm high on silver because it's the most suppressed. It's 50% below its all-time high yet. That's how they've manipulated the market. And what I liked about your book, you explain how it's manipulated. So can you give a quick scenarios how they keep the price manipulated?
When you see the price of silver trade, like on this Bloomberg screen behind me, you're not actually seeing the physical price of silver. You're seeing a contract for future silver delivery, which will never happen, will be settled in dollars. And so the guys in New York are able to sell an unlimited amount of those contracts into the market and settle those in dollars. It's called the futures market. Now, you don't see this with copper, which is at an all-time high. It's been running all year because we're experiencing big inflation. You don't see this with lumber. Have you bought a 2x4 recently? I have. The price is double. So all of the things that we buy that we need are going up in price, but the metals are different because it's in the government's best interest to keep the price down. And so you create financial products called futures that you're able to unload into the market to keep the price down. And that's creating a difference between the gold price and other commodities. It distracts people.
And this is my point to everybody right now, is that silver and gold, the prices are held down now.
Right.
And if you're watching Bitcoin, but the real action is going to take place, and I could be wrong, but I think it's silver, then gold.
That's right. It's happening right now.
It's so manipulated.
I have a huge trade on this, by the way. You can see it right now happening. It's like a beach ball that you've pulled down under the water, 10 feet under the water. And when you let it go, it's going to go flying, not just to the surface, but way up in the air and out of the pool. That's what silver looks like. But people need to understand something, Robert. You don't buy gold to make a profit.
Right.
Gold is not a trade. It's wealth. It's real money. There are other things that we can talk about that you buy to make a profit. But gold is about financial security. It's about insurance. It's a fire insurance policy. You don't buy fire insurance to make money unless you're a criminal. But you buy fire insurance so that you can protect what you have and you can build from there. If you lose your foundation, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, and so there's differences between silver, gold, and Bitcoin, and they're all significant differences. And if I told you today you could buy Bitcoin at $5, would you say I'll think about it? But that's what we're saying is happening with silver and gold right now because it's manipulated. Anything you want to say about
all you have to do is buy an ounce of gold. You'll see. When you call the dealer, they say, "I'm sorry, it'll be the summertime before you can get it. It'll be $2,000." That tells you all you need to know. So it's kind of like you go to get a Mercedes and it should be 100,000 and it's 70. Are you upset? No, you're thrilled. But for some reason, when you see gold in that condition, you say, "I don't know if I trust that." People get discouraged when they see low prices in gold, but it should be the opposite. When you see an asset and you understand and you've read my book and you know how this works, you should be thrilled to see the gold price held down. And that's the government finally doing something for you that's helpful. So that's how people should look at it once they can see the full picture.
Get some money out of this country.
If you can.
Yeah.
If you
can.
That's right. It's becoming increasingly difficult to get another citizenship or to have a bank account overseas. The walls are closing in. And so that's right. People have got to understand that gold is not some speculative thing. Everybody's hooked on 100% returns every day in the market and reading Reddit blogs and, trading stocks all the time. It's not like this. We're talking about your wealth. You're wealthy. If you go to work every day, you have wealth. You're earning wealth to have a better life. That's what we're talking about.
There's a lot to understand on this subject because, like I say, gold and silver is God's money. Bitcoin and crypto is people's money. It's outside the system.
That's right.
And you can do it legally. And I'm laughing right now because Janet Yellen and Powell are on an attack against Bitcoin. And Yellen says it's not efficient. I said, well, is printing $1 trillion efficient? And I'm going, are you kidding me? And Powell is now creating a warning against Bitcoin. So they're scared right now because the system is collapsing.
The thing people need to understand is that this is all a well-orchestrated plan. Right. So what we say in part 3 of the book is we lay these things out. And I wrote this book during the pandemic lockdown because I had so many people calling me and saying, what's going on? What's coming next? What do we do? And to me, it looked very simple. I said, look, the Fed has got to engineer inflation so that the system, the debt in the system, 280 trillion, can continue growing. That's very important because if it doesn't, everything collapses. And you can't allow that. We know that. You can't allow that. So we shut everything down. We're able to then begin rebuilding and have demand come back because you have half the capacity in restaurants. I mean, think about it. You shut everything down. And now we're seeing it. I talked about universal basic income. They're going to pay people not to work. That's happening. The writing's on the wall. So what do you do about it? Okay, you got to understand what comes next so that you can protect yourself and profit. And gold has gone from 1,500 to 1,800. I think it's going to go much higher. And it's good to have gold to protect your wealth.
Let me tell you a funny story because I've been telling this one guy for years also, buy silver. But he saves money. And I said, just buy some silver. He has refused. But now, what he's stockpiling, speaking at Home Depot, he's stockpiling 2x4s because he sees the price of lumber going up.
That's right. That's right. It's dramatic.
You could have,
the price of lumber is dramatically higher.
You could have bought a silver eagle for $25, but you got 2x4s stacked in your garage. He says, yeah, but 2x4s are going up in price. I'm going, oh my God, how silly can you be?
Well, you can also use them to burn for heat as well. But see, you got to look at copper, corn, soybeans, sugar. Now people say, oh, this is above my pay grade. No, it's not. Go on Google and just type it in and say price of commodities and look at the charts. Every single one of them is higher.
But I'm not saying it's them. I'm saying it's human nature.
That's right.
And
that's exactly right.
If you could siphon off a couple of $1 million with a government contract, you probably would. And that's what Trump.
I mean, that's right. We don't want to have an ideological fight with what we see happening. What we want to do is figure out how to take care of ourselves and not expect people to be different.
But the most important thing is you want to take control of what's called money. So if you have gold and silver and you have Bitcoin, and you have Metallia, and you have this, you're back in control of your money. And like Michael Saylor, a guy who just, I don't know how much he dumped into Bitcoin, but he says the dollar is like a melting ice cube. And I would say that's a fairly accurate visual description. And like Janet Yellen says, Bitcoin is inefficient. I said, printing $1 trillion is not inefficient.
But eventually the government's going to have their own crypto. So we talk about this in the book. They're going to have a Fed coin, and that's going to be how you transact dollars. So Yellen's right. Bitcoin is not efficient enough to be the currency mechanism for the Fed. But the Fed can create Fed coin, which would be a closed loop blockchain. And then people have a Fed coin wallet. And so when we stimulate the economy, I give you some Fed coin, but I say, Robert, you've spent too much on leisure. So you could only spend these Fed coin on food and shelter right now. And so people need to understand what that's going to look like. Right. Okay. So how can you get in front of that? We talk about that in the book. You need to see this coming.
Well, it's how do you spell Marxism? That's what it is.
It's a better marketed version of it, right? So we're going to use words to disguise it. But if you see it coming, you can take evasive action.